Hey everybody, episode number 254 of the ShopNotes pod, right? 254? Yep, sure. 254 of the ShopNotes Podcast. I'm your host, Phil Huber. John and Logan both here today answering viewer and listener questions, responding to comments and smart remarks, and probably, maybe, I don't know, a special segment later on in the episode. Thanks for listening. If you want to get in touch with us, the best way is on our YouTube channel, ShopNotes Podcast. You can leave a comment there, or as always, send us an email, woodsmith@woodsmith.com. This episode of the ShopNotes Podcast is brought to you by Gorilla Glue. When you're working on a project in the shop, you put in hours of effort, hopefully, and the last thing you want is for it to come apart because the glue didn't hold. That's why you should keep a bottle of Gorilla Wood Glue on the bench. It's non-foaming, it cleans up with water, and it dries a natural color so it blends right in. And of course, there's the reliable Gorilla strength you can always trust. Also, check out Gorilla Wood Filler for strong, durable repairs. Gorilla is strong enough for the pro and easy enough for the beginner. Built by you, backed by Gorilla. All right, last week, Logan and I got sidetracked talking about fasteners mostly. And we've kind of had them on the brain a little bit here, doing some videos with fasteners and then honestly, we're constantly cleaning up the video studio, and we have way too many boxes of fasteners that are wood screws primarily that are very similar in length, if not identical, but they're all in different bins. So you're wondering, are these different? I don't know. Anyway, a few replies to that one. IJWT Bot Dad says, I'm with you on the premium screws. In the past, I've done a lot of construction type building versus woodworking that I'm trying to get into now. Having good screws makes all the difference during the construction and durability over time. I always buy the best screws I can find, whatever the task. So I followed up to see like what if he had a brand preference. He kind of compares what he's got at the time, but Spax and GRK tend to be the ones he buys the most, which that's fair. Mm-hmm. Really good choices. Almost Perfection says, I would agree that GRK structural screws are way better than lag screws. Have you seen or used the funnel head screws designed for plywood case construction? I think they're from Quick Screws. They look interesting, but I haven't had the need to order any yet. And I am not familiar with those, the funnel head.
Oh, were you not there when I filmed the other day?
No, I wasn't. I was only there for half that day. So
so the timing of this is impeccable. Because I did just do some videos for Quick Screws and showed off their funnel head screws. They are interesting. They are I don't think I have one here. I have them in the truck. They're an interesting type screw. I will grab a picture to show on the screen. But they're on the show notes page. Their head profile is almost like that of a T-nut that you would, like one of the prong T-nuts that you would pound into wood.
Oh yeah.
So they don't have like a funnel head. They are more of a stepped shoulder, and they are designed to kind of countersink themselves and offer a lot of holding in like particle board, MDF, and plywood. Okay. To resist like pull through. They're super interesting. I want to play with them a little bit further before I commit fully to giving you an opinion on them, but I know that Quick Screws sells a boatload of them. They are used a lot in like cabinet case construction. So like where you would be, let's say, screwing the bottom of a cabinet into dados on case sides and you just want to pop a screw through the sides. They kind of counterbore. They sit pretty much flush. I wouldn't say that they bury themselves super deep to the point where you could like plug the hole, but they sink enough that they're not proud of the surface. So they're super interesting. I'm gonna mess with them quite a bit more. I talked last week about ordering this giant box from McFeely's on their Pro Max. I'm probably gonna order a big box of those funnel heads just to kind of screw around with them. They seem like they would be a very interesting screw to use in those plywood construction situations. So we'll see.
So visually, how are they different from like a Conformat then? I mean, I know Conformat are hex drive, so
yeah,
like, there's that. Because I mean, the way you're describing them, you know, like that's a big flat washer head.
Yeah. So the Conformats have more of like a tapered shoulder, if that makes sense. So it's more like what you would see on like a leg screw that isn't fully threaded the whole way. You know, where it steps up into a bigger shoulder.
Right.
That's more what the Conformat are like.
Yeah.
I think that they are probably equals. I don't know that I would say. I think they're interchangeable, probably.
Okay.
The funnel head from Quick Screws. I'm Googling it quick just to make sure that I am speaking correctly. I don't think they have any form of that like tapered shoulder.
Yeah, like a unthreaded shank or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I don't think they have any of that. I mean, they have a little bit of a bulbous head underneath, and then they have a spiral thread on the bottom side. So yeah, I will. I'll include links to the pages for both Quick Screws and McFeely's, so people can see the difference between them.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that, you know, the washer head style is a good way to describe those funnel heads from Quick Screws. It's almost like an inverted washer head, where the top of the screw is completely flat.
Yeah.
But then the bottom has a little bit of a, not a dome, but kind of a dome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just talking about the Quick Screws website real quick. The funnel head, which they use the term cabinet assembly screws and funnel head kind of interchangeably.
Okay.
But it says, you know, the cabinet assembly screws are designed to drive into MDF and plywood without pre-drilling, making them ideal for shops without specialized equipment. Sucks joints together for tight, clean construction, and it's designed for hardwood, plywood, and MDF. Now, I will say, when I was doing the videos, I was driving them, I believe, through walnut into MDF, I think. And the walnut was a little hard for them to, like, countersink themselves or pull themselves flush without stripping out the MDF on the inside.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know that, you know, I think you would want to make sure you're using like materials on the outsides, or be careful on your driving. So,
yeah.
But like, I mean, the price of them is slightly more than what I paid for this. So this box of, I believe this was a box of 1,000. Yeah, this box of 1,000 Pro Max screws, number 8s by inch and 3/8. I think I paid like 40 some bucks after shipping for this 1,000 count. The cabinet assembly screws for 1,000 are $67. Slightly more. They are slightly longer. So I'm not comparing necessarily apples to apples, but I think they're interesting, and they're definitely one that I want to mess around with a little bit more before I say, yep, that's my 100% plywood screw.
Yeah. So here's a follow-up question for the both of you then. Several manufacturers of wood screws talk about the ability to drive said screws without some kind of initial pilot or shank hole.
Mm-hmm.
In your own practice, regardless of the claims, what do you do?
I am always pre-drilling. I've just been burned too many times before. I have trust issues. And also it might be the OCD of the fact that it's like I got to lay them all out so they're like evenly spaced and then all lined up. And you'll watch Chris Fitch and he's just putting screws in wherever. Or, I mean, he does. Yeah. I mean, they're not like wherever, but he doesn't like lay them out or anything. And he does it. So
having spent time on the phone with owners of McFeely's and Quick Screws, I think they both agree that in most situations, you do not need a pre-drill. However, as John said, I've been burned too many times by not pre-drilling. And the consensus from the experts on screws is that the only times you really need to pre-drill are when you have a problem driving a screw straight. Or the location is super important. Like you're trying to sink a screw in the middle of the panel into a shelf or something. I pre-drill more so that I get a good countersink on it. I think I showed these Pro Max, and a lot of the screws now are manufactured like this, where they have these. I don't know if that's going to focus on there or not. They have these little like ridges and nubs on the bottom side of the head.
Yeah,
that are supposed to kind of chew in its own little countersink. I want something a little cleaner than that, so I use one of the Amana countersink bits as the spinning collar on it. So when you drive it down, you can only hit that collar, and then that collar starts spinning. It stops it's a depth stop, but it doesn't mar your work surface. So I use one of those, right. Because I find that is a good way for me to do it. It's just how I work. And again, I'm not a production shop where I'm sinking, 5,000 screws a day. Like if you are in and that's where a lot of, McFeely's and Quick Screws are selling to, are these large shops that are, they're building hundreds of cabinets a day. That extra step of pre-drilling is a huge waste of time, and it's a huge waste of resources, where in my shop, that's not the case.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. We're not really in production mode that's like saving that much time. We're not making 1,000 pieces of furniture a day, or it's more about craftsmanship,
Yeah. I will say, I think it's Spax that claims their screws you can drive without pre-drilling. I call BS on that one. Because I don't remember, I could go grab one of my box of Spax screws. It's something like, does this one say it? No, this one doesn't say it. But basically, the very tip of the thread on the screw is serrated or something like that, where it pre-cuts its own hole. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Yeah. Like maybe it does for the first surface, the eighth of an inch of the material, while it can still auger it out. But as soon as you get that tip buried, there's nowhere for those chips to go. Like it can't pull it out.
Yeah.
So I think something like, the split point, like the Type 17 point, or these ones on that Pro Max, where they have that that split in the tip.
Right.
I think that does a little more, because that tip can at least get packed with some shavings before it stops cutting. But at that point, I also think it depends on the material. Like a hardwood like oak is going to split more readily than something fairly soft like a like an air dried walnut or a soft maple. So
right. Yeah, both of you make a good point about it being, production oriented versus what you're trying to do in furniture pieces. And I think there's a big difference also in if you're driving screws into plywood more frequently than you're driving screws into solid wood pieces.
Yeah.
Because I'd have to say that I pre-drill holes all the time. There's just very rarely that I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think a lot of it, you know, I'm still sitting here with my screen opened up on these funnel head screws from Quick Screws and the Confirmat screws from McFeely's. The one thing about the Confirmat screws is they don't have a point either. So those you do have to pre-drill for sure. So they have a stub end. They don't have, they're not pointed. So
right.
You do have to pre-drill those. You know, looking at the way that head works, where it's like an inverted washer head, where the flat shoulder is pulling down to the surface of the material. I think a lot of the times, you know, if I'm thinking about how I'm using dado joints in my shop for like a case construction, or like, I mean, even this church table I'm still working on, like in hardwood, a lot of times I'm running those dados half depth. So like 3/8 in a 3/4 material.
Right.
With those cabinet assembly screws, I think that gets a little close. So usually I give a little bit more. So I only go like a 1/4 inch deep on those dados or rabbits, and really give that head something to pull against. And I think that's where you're really going to gain a lot of that extra strength, is give it a little bit more material, let that screws bearing surface be that large shoulder, but give it some meat to pull against.
Yeah.
So.
I can see that, because there's been a couple of times where I've reinforced like a rabbet joint, and if it's a pretty deep rabbet, there's just not much there by the time you countersink a screw for it to bear against, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's what I was thinking. It's like if you take, I don't know what the depth on one of these funnel heads are, but it's every bit of an 1/8 of an inch. It's fat 1/8 of an inch. Mm-hmm. So if you're on a 3/8 inch deep dado,
yeah,
you have 3/8 material left. All of a sudden, you're down to a 1/4 that you're pulling against, and you're basically at that point driving the wedge head of that screw. It's like a splitting wedge down into that 1/4 inch material. So not a lot there, but
yeah, I had that concern on this wall shelf we just did for Woodsmith, where I did use 1 inch material, but it's like had dadoed in joints, and then the screws were plugged, so they had to be in a ways, but it's like, yeah, got to leave enough beef there for the screw to hang on to so it doesn't pull all the way through. And so
yeah, well, and as soon as you start talking about plugging those screw holes, mm-hmm. That adds an entire another layer to it.
Yeah.
So at that, it's like, okay, do you go down to like an 1/8 of an inch dado? Right. Are you gaining enough by doing that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, at that point, the dado is just for registration.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Yep.
All right. One last comment from last week's. Steegs T says, Logan, yes, you absolutely need to buy the Domino XL.
Hell yeah.
You never truly know how much you need a new tool until you get the new tool. Not having the opportunity to use it doesn't let you create more opportunities to use it. I mean, that's
Steegs T.
Right
can
there.
I get a doctor's note from you, please?
You have the blessing.
Yes, I don't need you to be an actual doctor. I just need the note.
Right. So that was in reference. There was an opportunity possibly for you to do another set of church doors, and you were contemplating doing those with a Domino rather than trying to do setups on big pieces with the Panto router.
Yep, exactly. So still undecided. I still looked at the price of it, and I'm like, oh, shoot. At that point, I'm doing the church doors for free. In reality, just to buy the tool, which is not a bad way to operate if that's how you're operating,
Right.
not to run a business. So
You just write it off.
that's not how this works. God, I wish it was, but
This episode of the Shop Notes Podcast is sponsored by Harvey Industries. Good enough is not good enough. See all of our new tools at harveywoodworking.com. All right. We'll wrap up with a question that came in over the emails. Tom Lewis writes, I love your magazine. Many of the plans offered utilize a 1/4-inch hardboard for various component parts. Unfortunately, 1/4-inch hardboard is not available here in Wichita, Kansas. We have a good selection of home centers here, including Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, Sutherland's, Star Lumber, and various hardware stores. We can get 1/4-inch pegboard made from hardboard, but that won't always work with the project at hand. So here's my question. Do you know of an online source that stocks and ships 1/4-inch hardboard? I tried laminating my own 2 pieces of 1/8-inch hardboard, but that turned into a disaster. Any help you can offer is greatly appreciated.
I believe the 1/4-inch hardboard manufacturers have went extinct. Was it a meteor? I don't know. Because it is extremely hard to find now. Mm-hmm. What I have started to do is I use 1/4-inch MDF. And I think that's about the best you can do.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like it's still there, but I agree. It's just not as commonly available. Like every so often I see it and it's almost like, seeing a white deer out in the woods, It's
Stock up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of the 1/4-inch stuff that's like at the mesh textured back. Like finding the 2-sided stuff is really hard. But yeah, 1/4-inch MDF would work.
But 1/4-inch hardboard is definitely a more durable material than 1/4-inch MDF. I guess if I were to make a recommendation, not knowing anything about the Wichita, Kansas area, which is part of the reason that I'm putting this out there, is for any listeners or viewers to chime in here on that comment, is I think your best bet is to go to like a legit lumber yard and order it through them, where you're going to, and I'm not talking like a Menards, Lowe's, Home Depot kind of place. It's got to be somebody that's, mostly selling to builders and cabinet makers and stuff like that. And I feel like Wichita is a big enough town that it's going to have, like we have Liberty Hardwood here in Des Moines, and I bet you we can get 1/4-inch hardboard through them.
Yeah,
I'm looking right now to see if they listed.
Yes, that's where we've gotten it from recently.
Yeah,
I know. A lot of times,
it's got to be one of those. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, a lot of times we'll use 1/4-inch hardboard in projects just for aesthetics. Like a lot of times, if I'm building a project out of Baltic birch, and it's like you don't want it to all look like Baltic birch, you'll throw in some hardboard for color, or just aesthetically. So maybe you could just use 1/4-inch plywood. But depends on the project. It depends on the usage, I guess.
On the usage, yeah. We've done a lot of shop jigs, shop note stuff that had 1/4-inch hardboard in it, and I think that's kind of where I mean, it's a delightful material to use, frankly. That there is a difference between that and 1/4-inch MDF. But like we've done 1/4-inch MDF on a lot of cabinet backs recently.
Yep.
I think you could do it in small drawer bottoms. I think at that point you just go with 1/4-inch plywood. But
yeah. So my quick Googling brought me to AndersonPlywood.com, which seems like they are maybe a distributor. I don't know that they're necessarily a manufacturer, but this is interesting because in big letters, big bold letters, it says S2S tempered hardboard is no longer available. I don't know if that means generally, like industry wide, or just from these guys.
Yeah.
But the standard grade hardboard is a medium brown panel, smooth on one side with a rough crosshatch pattern on the other side. So that's what you're going to find a lot of is the standard grade hardboard. Mm-hmm. Tempered hardboard is impregnated under heat with linseed oil.
Yeah.
Making it more water resistant and tougher. That's the one that you're going to find that is smooth on both sides. You know, I think for most things, I don't know when a hardboard panel is going to be better than an MDF panel, a 1/4 inch MDF panel. Like, personally, for patterns and stuff, like if I'm doing the same routing template and I'm doing that dozens of times a week and it's gonna wear out, the bearing's gonna wear out, you know, I'm probably going to something like an acrylic template. You know, I think this is just my opinion. I think that the MDF is a great substitute, and I don't know that there's a reason to go to that hardboard if you can't find it. If you can find it, great. It's wonderful material. Yeah,
and then, depending on what sizes he's looking for, you could probably find, you know, the smaller like hobby size, like 2 foot by 4 foot or 2 by 2, like pieces like that. That'll ship.
Of MDF, you're saying? Of
hardboard too, I would think. Like,
yeah, maybe
shipping wise. If you're, you know, rather than trying to get a 4 by 8 sheet shipped or something like that. So,
yeah. See, Menards, because the three of us are Menards fanatics. They only show a 3/16 hardboard panel on their website. They don't show 1/4 inch, and it doesn't say if it is smooth both sides or if it is just a standard hardboard. It does not say tempered, so I'm guessing that it is.
Pretty sure it's the waffle pattern on the backside,
probably.
That I've seen. I mean, I will say there's been times where I found it at Menards. I mean, it's been years since I've looked, but like Fleet Farm here in the Midwest used to have 1/4 inch hardboard where it was smooth on both sides, the service tempered or whatever they call that, oil tempered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a hard time finding like true 1/4 inch pegboard as well when we've needed that for projects. I think I've had to go to lumber yards for that because usually it's 3/16.
Yeah.
So,
and even I think I've seen 1/8 inch pegboard too, and it's like,
why?
It's like, why?
Yeah.
Why would you ever do that?
It's like,
I get it.
Yeah, it's like perforated cardboard. You just tear on the dotted line.
Basically.
Yeah, because it's easier to cut. You just fold it against a straight edge and then just tear it.
Snap.
Yep.
No saw needed. I like that. I'm all for that.
Oh, this is a public service announcement. Although this is not going to be done in time. Dang it. Hindsight, if you're in the Midwest, this is going to air on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. The 11% rebate ended yesterday. So sorry.
So what? We got to wait till like February now?
February. It's when they do it. But as a Menards fanboy, following the Menards cult groups on Facebook and Reddit, from now until February is when Menards will have a lot of their free after rebate items. So time to stock up on paintbrushes, chip brushes, maybe tape measures.
I have a set of chisels from back in the day that were free after rebate.
There's a reason for that.
And I just, they're used for all kinds of other tasks.
Masonry work.
Yeah, masonry work or removing glue but you need a set of those too.
They're great as cold chisels.
Yeah.
They're very soft.
Put a steep bevel on both faces, you're good. It was also a delight to discover that Menards gives you a year now to send in your rebate form.
They do.
So
look at that. Within easy reach.
Yep. Not saying
those in
that's
the
why
safe.
the Midwest. Yeah.
That's as good as cash right there.
Yep. I mean, that's one of the highlights of the Midwest, frankly, is that we were really pioneers in cryptocurrency with Kohl's Cash and Menard's rebate money.
Yep.
Like, it's...
Culver's.
Scoopy points.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Save up.
Mm-hmm. Got a fun, just because it's around Thanksgiving and coming up on the opening of deer hunting season. Got a little tidbit from my sister who follows the Midwest versus the rest Instagram account, that Wisconsin becomes the 9th largest army in the world during deer hunting season, with 600,000 deer hunting licenses are issued in the state.
Nice.
Putting the great state just behind Iran for standing army. So,
all right.
Yep. There you go. Fun fact.
Where was the gentleman looking for lumber or hardboard in?
Wichita, Kansas.
Wichita. Okay. I'm asking ChatGPT to see what it says.
Oh, there you go.
I couldn't remember where it was, so I said Tulsa, Oklahoma, which does not appear that there is any. So, try B&B Lumber.
B&B Lumber. Okay.
Yes. Which, here are some suggestions on what to ask them if you call them. Do you carry 1/4-inch thick tempered hardboard sheets? What brand and face grade? And can I inspect the sheets for flatness before I purchase? Mm-hmm. All per ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm. They'll love that.
All right. Those are all great questions.
Yep.
Not necessarily applicable to hardboard, but whatever.
Nope.
How brown is your hardboard?
So brown.
All right. Since this one is coming out on Black Friday, do you guys have any Black Friday tool woodworking related items that you're scoping?
I've been kind of,
or is it targets of opportunity?
Yeah, I've been thinking about the Milwaukee Palm router that everybody has in the shop here. It's like,
it's freaking great.
I might have to get one of those. So I've been kind of keeping an eye on prices and sales, and so
yeah. I'm honestly, the only thing I'm looking for, and I have one in my Amazon cart right now, and I don't know, I feel a little dirty about it. I don't generally buy off-brand stuff. Like food I do, but like in clothes. Tools I don't generally buy off-brand. I don't buy knockoff tools. Mm-hmm. So like I'm very like persistent and adamant that I will not buy like the knockoff woodpeckers stuff that you see floating around on Amazon. Like I don't like that. Mm-hmm. But there is a guide that says it's a track for the track saw.
Okay.
I was considering buying. I have the Festool cordless track saw. Really like it. Same one we have in the shop. The track I have two of their, I don't remember what they are, 55-inch tracks, something like that. But I always have them connected together with the connector bars. Just don't take them apart. And when I need to just cross-cut something really small, it's a pain in the butt. I don't take them apart, but then I got this droopy track. So I was going to buy either the one-piece track from Festool and their 110-inch track. I think I could find it at like Ace for like $375 for that big, long track.
Yeah.
Or I found a 110-inch track. It's a two-piece track, so two 55-inch guide rails with connectors for $99 on Amazon. So I'm guessing, I mean, this is a knockoff. It is green, like Festool green and stuff. It's made by somebody that's not Festool. Has really good reviews. If that drops cheap enough, I might buy it just to see how it is. But the only other thing that I'm maybe looking at on Black Friday is a new blade for the Capex that I have here. So,
Okay.
although rumor has it, some other blade manufacturers that I like are gonna start making some miter saw blades. So I might hold off for one of those. We'll see.
All right.
So,
All right. Going back to your comment, John, do you already have Milwaukee 18-volt stuff?
I do. I have just the drills right now. I got those
Okay.
earlier this year. So looking to add on.
Yeah, because I don't know, what's it been, about like a year or two maybe, that Mark and Chris switched over and got the cordless Milwaukee palm router with the plunge base, and then Dylan got one, and then it just feels like the dominoes are falling.
Yeah.
So the question that I have for you guys, and then also for the listeners in general, is like, what would it take for you to change cordless battery ecosystems?
It's tough. Changing's tough. It's like, do you
Because,
wait till all
like,
the
it's really-
batteries die and then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
now it's time to switch, but
I mean, because you kind of did this, Logan, because you were pretty deep into Ryobi for a while. Like, all right,
it was a
like,
dark time of my life.
we're just going to pause here and allow everybody to send in their comments on why Ryobi tools are terrible.
right.
And I agree with
Yeah.
every single one of you.
And that's fine. But they were cheap. I have some too. That was like it was on sale.
That
Like,
was it.
These
yeah.
are just I'm
Yeah.
gonna have these for a year and they're disposable. Just
Well,
sometimes
and
you gotta
it's,
slum
like
it.
Right. I have several Ryobi 18-volt tools. Part of it for the reason that several of the tools that I have at the time did not exist in another format at the price that I
Yeah.
was looking for. Like I have a Ryobi, not woodworking related, pole saw, extendable pole saw. I only need it like twice a year when some thunderstorm comes through and I have to clean up trees in the yard or down branches and stuff like that. Works great. Don't use it all every day. I have a couple of their drills. And then and because I was already invested in Ryobi, I got one of their newer 18-volt brushless drills because it ran above 2,000 RPMs, which works for the little Jessam slot mortiser that I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing that made me switch is that my battery started dying.
Okay.
I had a lot of Ryobi batteries, and all of a sudden I had more Ryobi batteries that were shot than were not. I think during that time I had used a few Milwaukee things. I'm like, oh, these are actually really nice. Like I get it now. And at that point, I could afford to buy nicer tools, so I started buying. What I have avoided doing is buying a big kit at once. I know a lot of people do that. They'll buy the five tools,
Yeah.
like the 5-tool kit with the batteries and stuff. And for Milwaukee, that's pretty pricey to do. So I bought, I think, the drill and impact driver set first. Came with a couple of batteries and a charger.
Sure.
And that was kind of my first one. And that was honestly I needed a new drill because I freaking hate the Ryobi drills because the chucks always loosen on them. Like, they stop so quickly that when the stopping action happens, the chuck opens up.
Yeah.
Which drives me nuts. So I bought the Milwaukee at that point, and then I realized how nice that stuff was when I compared it to my Ryobi stuff. The Ryobi stuff worked great. For what I was doing at the time, it was perfect. It was great homeowner quality stuff. Really liked it. So that's when I started to switch. So every time it's like, okay, another Ryobi battery died, buying another Milwaukee tool. So now I maybe have 6 batteries for Milwaukee, maybe a few more than that. but there are certain tools from the Milwaukee lineup that just are spot on, and that router is one of them.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of, I'm going to call it hearsay because I have not experienced it at all. I've heard a lot of people complain about the collet on that router. I've never had an issue. I have that battery-powered Milwaukee router. I have the fixed base attached to my StableMax Woodpecker's router table, the little benchtop router table.
Yeah.
And it's basically just an extended base plate at that point, which works great because then I have a router with an extended base plate, and then it just snaps into the router table, and I can run that as a little benchtop router table. I also have the plunge base for it that I can pull the motor out if I need to. I don't do that very often. Usually when I do that, I grab one of my 3 Colt routers that I have because I also have the plunge base for that. But that router from them is a freaking gem. I love that. I also love I have their 40 volt chainsaw. That's wonderful as well.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. So, I mean, I have, from the Milwaukee lineup, I have the driver, the impact driver, the drill, the router table, or the router, their circular saw, which I use for breaking down lumber.
Okay.
Works really, really nicely. And then I just spent a minute talking about how I hate knockoff China stuff, but I did buy a generic brand heat gun that works with the Milwaukee batteries.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, and I really like it. So.
All right, so speaking of generic brand, would you consider getting a quote-unquote knockoff batteries for your cordless tools? Because I know I'm familiar with several people who have done that on things.
Yes. I will say no, because simply for the fact that I went up to Milwaukee this year and I saw their battery lab. Like, I think it is, if there's anything that makes Milwaukee different than other brands, it's their battery technology.
Okay.
So I know exactly, I've seen exactly what they're doing with their batteries. They have a giant, one floor of their building is their battery labs, and you walk in there and there are just, think of server racks, okay? Like that hold servers. There are rows of these. I mean, you feel like you're in the Google database center, and all they are battery cells that are hooked up and they're running depletion cycles. They're running fully charged, fully deplete, fully charged, fully deplete. Then they have ones that are chilled down to negative 20 degrees that they're running fully charged, fully deplete. They put their money into battery technology. And I think that is, obviously I got burnt on the Ryobi stuff as those started to die, but I think that's what makes them different. So that's where I won't buy a knockoff battery. But buying the generic, works with Milwaukee battery heat gun, for the $35 it was versus the $120 that the Milwaukee was, and the Milwaukee one honestly didn't have great reviews. I'm like, yeah, for the couple times you're gonna need a heat gun, here we go.
Yeah. So I'll put that out there for the larger audience too, is whether you've purchased and what your experience is with third-party, shall we say, batteries for cordless tools, because that usually is the weak point or the hook on those kind of things. Is you can get, a 5-pack of tools, 2 batteries, and a charger for, $250, let's just say. But then if you go to buy individual batteries, they're $100 a piece.
Yep.
So,
great example of this. I'm looking currently at the the Amazon Black Friday sales that are available right now, and there is a Whately, don't know what that is. Whately 2-pack, 12 volt, 6 amp replacement batteries compatible with Milwaukee power tools. not made in Milwaukee, in big parentheses, for $30 for 2 of the batteries. So that is significantly cheaper than a Milwaukee battery is.
Oh, yeah.
So, to each their own. I'll never poke fun at people that spend their money certain ways unless you're buying a Shopsmith. If you want to buy knockoff stuff, cool. Yeah. I mean, I think there's it'd be interesting to try it and see how it works.
Right. John, what about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I would have done it probably in the past and, just paid for a life lesson type of thing where you get what you pay for. So,
right.
Yeah. For the most part. So,
yeah. Because, for example, I have several tools in Bosch's 12-volt line, which I really like.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a ton of tools there, but frankly, for what I use those tools for, they work really great. But I know that those are more of like the round, like stick kind of battery packs. And then online you can find battery packs that have a little greater capacity. They're usually have some kind of a small brick attached to it that's on there. So there's like that option to give you longer run time by going the third party route. And that's where I've had folk that I know.
What those Milwaukee ones were. Yeah. Because the Milwaukee one is like that battery pack in their 12-volt line is very similar to the Bosch one. Yeah. It's like that cartridge style. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, just because I'm like a fan of the Milwaukee 18-volt line, I hate their 12-volt stuff.
Oh.
Like, not like that's a very broad statement that I hate their 12-volt stuff. I do not like their 12-volt driver. We did a test a couple of years ago of 12-volt drills.
Oh yeah.
And I hated it. It felt like I was holding this coffee cup, like when I was trying to drive something. Like the can was like, or the handle was like the size of a soda drink can, like, which just felt very uncomfortable to me.
Yeah.
I have the 12-volt DeWalt and I love it.
Yeah.
So, just because I get being into one system and saying, yeah, I'm just going to stick with one system. Like I do get that.
Right.
But I don't mind having a couple of different ones.
Yeah. I think it's different if it's like different voltages, because it's not like you're trading out batteries between it. Like you have let's say a 12-volt line for utility grade stuff. And then you're stepping up into something that's like in the 18-volt because it's heavier. Yeah. I think you can have, like I do, because I have the 12-volt Bosch stuff. And then I have a handful of 18-volt Ryobi things. So
yeah, I still have a few Ryobi things. I kept my portable tire inflator. I have a couple batteries that are still working, so it's like that's what I use as my portable tire inflator if I need to go like fill up the skid loader thing. Zip tie the trigger on and then walk away and come back 40 minutes later. Or like my Sawzall. I still use the Ryobi Sawzall because I don't use one very often. I have a couple corded versions, but if I need a cordless one, that's what I use. So, I'm not like get rid of it all and only go to one. I do get people that want to do that just to limit what they have in the shop, but
yeah, I still have Ryobi stuff too, but it's like, I'm not going to reinvest. I'll keep using what I have, but I'm not going to reinvest in batteries for them. When they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah. So if anybody is interested, this is a kind of a good one, I think. And I hate these clamps, but I think we had this discussion a couple of weeks ago. The Pony Jorgensen pipe clamp ends, the 3/4 inch ones, a 2-pack is on sale. For Black Friday.
Okay.
I talked about getting a couple of those just so I had a pair of long clamps in the shop because I had to steal the shop ones to glue up this table. So there's some interesting stuff, and there's some certain things that are, I'm looking at, just flipping through all of these sales. There are some push blocks that, you know, clearly are ripoffs of the micro jig ones. So there are good, on the surface, what appear to be good deals for people that want to get into something like that.
Right.
So,
all right. I want to know what you have for your Black Friday tool deals. Is it a cordless tool, an upgrade somewhere, an add-on to your existing system? Let us know. Again, also, what would it take for you to switch cordless tool ecosystems? And what about knockoff batteries? Love to hear from you. Send us an email, woodsmith@woodsmith.com, or put a comment in our YouTube channel, ShopNotes Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave reviews, because that's how we get out to even more woodworkers like yourself to join the conversation. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We'll see you next week. When you're working on a project, you put in hours of effort, and the last thing you want is for the project to come apart because the glue didn't hold. That's why you should keep a bottle of Gorilla wood glue on the bench. It's non-foaming, dries a natural color, and of course, it's Gorilla Strong. Built by you, backed by Gorilla.